You know, when we start talking about portraits, we're dealing with the landscape of portraits, right? What's the main competitor out there? Picture People, Walmart Photo Labs, whatever the case may be, right? Those are your competitive landscape. And you can walk into some of these places and it's like $19.95 and you're getting like 58 by 10s, 25 5 by 7s, and everything under the sun that you could possibly imagine they are going to deliver to you for that price point. I'm not competing on that. We cannot compete on that price point. So if you're in the portrait market and you don't realize that this is part of the market that you're going after, you're missing the boat. Yet again, we have to understand that this is part of the competitive landscape. I'm dealing with moms and families, good enough, that see the Picture People, right? You're going to go in and you're going to get maybe a 17-year-old with a camera and he's going to have a little squeaky toy on the top of his camera and we're going to lay on the floor and man, that's not what I want to do for a living. That's not professional photography to me. That's not what I want to do. I want to offer a higher end service. But how do I differentiate that service from what they're doing for $19.95 and what I want to do for a $1,000 photo session, for a $500 photo session? How do we differentiate those two things? You've got to start thinking about that because that is in fact part of your competitive landscape. The other things we're dealing with in the landscape of portrait photography, or in the spirit of portrait photography, I should say, friend with a camera. Anybody suffering for this? I deal with it all the time. You know, just recently I had a buddy, and I love him to death, but I have a buddy, and I used to do all their family portraits, okay? Now I see on Facebook, he's doing his family's portraits, okay? Well, he's got a camera now, so he's a photographer. It's got to be a professional, right? I've got Photoshop, I've got InDesign, I've got Illustrator. I must be a graphic designer. That's how it all works. And so there's nothing wrong with it. It's funny to me to watch because it's just adding to the sense that everyone literally is a photographer. And so I can't compete with that because everyone's got a friend who's got a camera. Now, what's that friend going to do? Is that friend going to offer high-end products? Of course not. That friend is more than likely, with a camera, just going to give them a CD. Maybe they're going to edit the pictures. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're going to color correct them. Maybe they're not. And they're going to give them that CD. And then that CD or thumb drive, whatever your delivery mechanism is going to sit in a drawer somewhere, in a box somewhere, and nothing's ever going to get done with it. I don't believe in my heart that that is an end-to-end service. I believe that's an incomplete service. I don't want to offer that. That becomes my X factor. That becomes my differentiator. If you start competing on that, you're going to lose because you can't beat free. A friend with a camera is free. You will never beat that. And so I don't want to compete on price. It's like I said, price is a race to the bottom. I don't want to go down to the bottom. Instead, I want to go the other way. I can look all of you in the eye and tell you I have never lowered my prices in 8 years. I'm not talking about running a sale. We just don't lower our prices. And so instead, I'm trying to go the other way. I'm trying to find the top of the market because that top of the market is creating separation. Something you've heard me talk about over and over again, Louis Vuitton. You will never walk into a Louis Vuitton and see a sale going on. They don't do it. If you can't afford, let's be honest. If you're paying $3,000 for a bag, okay, $4,000 for a bag, is getting 10% off really going to make a difference to you? Is getting 15% off going to make a difference to you? You either have the money to buy it or you don't. And the people who have the money, I don't know, they just don't care about that sale. Everybody loves a deal, but ultimately they're not bargain shopping. The person who's bargain shopping is the person who's looking for a friend with a camera. If you want great photography, you're not okay with a friend with a camera, unless they're a damn good photographer. But if you want great photography, you want that family heirloom sitting on your wall, you want that album, okay, or that giant family portrait in the fall that you're going to put over your fireplace. If that's what you're looking for, a friend with a camera just won't do. And so if you start competing with that friend with the camera, you're losing all that business, all those clients who want the other product. But you're so busy operating from a point of desperation, okay, you start making bad decisions. Never, ever, ever operate from a point of desperation. Not that we will never be there. We're all there at different points in our career and different points in our lives. That's natural. That's going to happen. But the minute you start making decisions based on that emotional pull, based on the wrong data, is the minute you start failing your business. I guarantee you it's going to happen because you're making the decisions for the wrong reasons. We have to make the right decisions for the right reasons, and those reasons are to grow our business, grow our revenue, and offer a superior product or service. You guys with me? Groupon. Who here is not seeing Groupon as a competitor? And I guess you could make the argument and say, well, come on, Sal, I mean, you're charging $1,000 or for a portrait session, or I'm charging $500 for a portrait session. How is $49 really competition? Photographically, I'm not necessarily suggesting that we're competing with each other, but as far as a service, I've got photographers who are willing to offer family portraits for $49. To me, it represents the absolute erosion of our market. Think about it this way. Do you see doctors and lawyers offering discounts on Groupon? You don't. A doctor and a lawyer is not going to go on Groupon to offer that discount on Groupon. And the reason is simple. Because they're not going to diminish the value of their product or service. I'm not suggesting that we should never have sales. I'm definitely not suggesting that. I run sales all the time. I love sales. I love promotions. But the minute you start going on Groupon, all Groupon cares about, by the way, is just sell as many units as possible. Thousands and thousands of units, hundreds and hundreds of units, because that's how Groupon's making the money. And by the way, Groupon's usually getting more than you on the whole deal. And so I don't understand why, as a business owner with limited resources, photography is a limited resource. I don't have 100 photographers under me. I don't have, I'm not selling books or product that's sitting there collecting dust. I'm selling my time, my service. Groupon is not a place I want to be. However, I would be ignorant if I didn't acknowledge that clients don't necessarily always see the difference. They go, well, hey, here's a photographer. We can get our family pictures done, okay, for $49. How do I stand out from the crowd and allow my clients to see that, yes, you're going to get that for $49, but what you're going to get from me for $500, for $1,000 is 10 times better?